Massive news in the world of MMA as the UFC 311 card, main card anyway, has pretty much been announced. So Dana White yesterday, or early hours this morning, confirmed that Islam Makhachev will main event UFC 311 against Arman Tsarukyan, and the co-main event is Merab versus Umar Nurmagomedov. But let's start off with the main event: Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan, the pound for pound number one. Clearly the best fighter in the sport of MMA right now, in my opinion. Islam Makhachev is taking on Arman Tsarukyan. Now, this is a rematch. Arman Tsarukyan made his UFC debut against Islam Makhachev. I'm pretty sure it was his first fight on short notice. And he gave Islam Makhachev a really tough test in there. Obviously, that was a good couple of years ago. Both guys have improved on their skill sets. Obviously, Islam Makhachev is now on a 14-fight win streak. He's coming off big wins over Oliveira, Volkanovski, Dustin Poirier. The guy's got a stacked resume. In my opinion, the best lightweight in the UFC of all time. Then you've got Arman Tsarukyan, who has built his way up in the rankings of the UFC's lightweight division. He has also really improved in his skill set, coming off a big win over Charles Oliveira at UFC 300. Now, who beat Oliveira better? It was Islam Makhachev, but MMA maths does not work like that. Arman Tsarukyan did beat Oliveira at 300, but obviously there was a lot of bumps in the road in that performance. Arman Tsarukyan nearly getting submitted a good couple of times, but I think Arman Tsarukyan definitely deserved to get his hand raised at UFC 300. I know a lot of people said that Oliveira was robbed. Not the case, but for this matchup right here, the rematch, my throat's killing me. Sorry if my voice sounds a bit weird. I've got a sore throat, but the show must go on. The daily uploads continue. Islam Makhachev versus Arman 2. I'm really looking forward to this one. I think Arman will give Islam another tough test like he done first time round. If Arman Tsarukyan can't beat Islam Makhachev, I'm going to be honest, nobody in the lightweight division beats Islam Makhachev. Also, I don't think Arman Tsarukyan is going to beat Islam Makhachev. I think this will be a tough enough matchup. I think the scrambles in this fight are going to be really interesting to see, because I do believe that we will see grappling in there. Normally, if you're in there with two great grapplers, like a Colby and Usman, for example, it kind of cancels out and then they end up striking with each other. But I feel like we will see Arman try and grapple with Islam and vice versa. I'm really looking forward to seeing the scrambles. However, on the feet, which will play a big part in this matchup, Islam Makhachev is a much better striker than Arman Tsarukyan, in my opinion. Islam Makhachev, I know he's really known for his grappling, but this guy is one of the best strikers right now in the UFC. Islam Makhachev's kickboxing has really came on leaps and bounds. The guy does a good job of managing range. Obviously, he didn't do that well managing range against Dustin Poirier. However, Poirier, in my opinion, is one of the better boxers the UFC have right now, and Islam Makhachev boxed him up. But when you look at his striking against Volkanovski, a really elite kickboxer, Islam Makhachev was winning quite a lot of those striking exchanges in their first matchup, which what I'm going to base it off more, because obviously, yes, Islam did KO Volk, but there were circumstances behind that in the second fight where Volkanovski took it on like a week's notice. He looked like a fat bowling ball in there and got his head kicked off his shoulders. So yes, it's a good win for Islam Makhachev. I'm not taking it away from him. He beat the pound for pound number one by head kick KO in round one. However, there are some asterisks around that. But I feel like Islam Makhachev will win this fight. I think he will win this fight by unanimous decision. We're going to move on to the co-main event. Merab versus Umar Nurmagomedov. Now, Dana White in his video when he was promoting these fights, talking about the announcements, says that Merab, the night before he announced Islam Arman, came into his office and said he doesn't like the fact people are saying, or he doesn't like the fact that Umar's disrespecting him. He wants to take the Umar fight. Bollocks. I think the UFC have told Merab, if you don't fight this guy now, you're being stripped of your title, because it's clear as day who the UFC want to be champion. It's clear as day what the UFC want, and that is an Umar Nurmagomedov bantamweight champion. Now, this matchup is really interesting. The odds have came out and Umar is the favourite, which I'm not surprised about, but I'm kind of thinking, should Merab not be the favourite? Obviously he's the champion, but when you're looking at resumes, Umar Nurmagomedov's only good win is Corey Sandhagen, and that is a great win, do not get me wrong. But when you look at Merab's right now, he literally could be in the conversation for bantamweight GOAT. I'm not even joking. The guy's beaten Aldo, Jan, Sean O'Malley. He finished Marlon Moraes. The guy's got a really, really stacked... Henry Cejudo, I forgot about that one. Merab has got one of the most stacked resumes in bantamweight history. You cannot deny that. Now, with this matchup, this is a real difficult one for Merab because Umar is a better striker than Merab, in my opinion. And Umar is the better grappler. I don't feel like Merab's style of grappling, which when you watch Merab fight, yes, he is predominantly a grappler, but he's not looking to take you down and hold you down. Merab's whole thing is cardio. His best weapon is his cardio. So Merab's whole thing is take you down, let you get back up, take you down, let you get back up, tire you out, tire you out, tire you out. And the more tired you get, the more opportunity Merab gets then with his striking. I mean, we've seen it in there against Jan. He was got I think like 30 plus takedowns in there against Jan, but the fact that he was able to throw Jan off his rhythm constantly shooting for those takedowns allowed for Merab to then land some strikes of his own. My throat's killing me, give me a wee second. Fuck. But anyway, this matchup, I am predicting Umar Nurmagomedov to beat Merab. I think Umar Nurmagomedov will get an early finish on Merab. My prediction is Umar Nurmagomedov to take the back of Merab in the second round and submit him due to rear naked choke. That is my prediction. I just see it happening. I just see Merab trying to take down Umar Nurmagomedov. Umar then they end up getting to like a scramble type scenario. Umar gets the back and chokes Merab out. That is my prediction for this matchup. I'm glad this isn't a main event of its own card. I'm glad it is the co-main event. It makes total sense to have Umar Nurmagomedov and Merab underneath an Islam Makhachev main event. We don't want this fight taking up a main event. Yeah, I think we can agree. Why have we not got Jamal Hill, Yuri Prohaska? That is the feature fight of this card. That there is a banger. I think Jamal Hill is really underrated. I think a lot of people shit on the guy after his performance at UFC 300. Now, granted, ever since UFC 300, the guy's kind of became unbearable and annoying. But it's getting him more attention than he's ever gotten before in his entire career. This matchup, though, is going to be really interesting. Obviously, both guys coming off losses to Alex Pereira. It is a 3-rounder. I think Yuri's going to get it done, to be honest. I think Jamal Hill isn't focused on the task in hand. It's always about Pereira. He's always trying to get a fans. I'm not trying to say that he isn't focused on Yuri, but it comes across... Ignore that burp, that was disgusting. It comes across that Jamal Hill's focus is somewhere else, where Yuri is just so dedicated to this game. There's going to be no outside distractions. I think... Fuck, it's so hard to predict this one. Like, because I could see a world where Jamal Hill just smokes him, because, like I said, Jamal Hill is really underrated, a really underrated kickboxer. But I don't know. I feel like the knockout loss is gonna affect Jamal Hill mentally more than it will Yuri Prohaska. I don't know why, but I predict a Yuri KO. I think Yuri Prohaska is gonna KO Jamal Hill at UFC 311 in between 2 rounds. He's going to knock him out in 2 rounds. That's my prediction, Yuri Prohaska. We've got Johnny Walker versus Bogdan Anthony Smith Jr. Fuck it, I'm going to go Johnny Walker. I like Johnny Walker. Someone's getting knocked out in this fight, though. That's a fact. Peyton Talbot making his return at UFC 311. Big prospect for the UFC. Would have liked to seen the guy a bit more active this year, but it is what it is. He is going to beat Barcelos. This is a jump up in competition for him, but I believe Talbot is the real deal, and I'm expecting him to get a knockout here. Then we've got some women's matchup. Argue about that in the comments who you think's going to win that one. So my predictions: Islam Makhachev decision, Umar Nurmagomedov round 2 rear naked choke, Johnny Walker by KO, and Peyton Talbot by first round KO. UFC 311 is stacked. You've got Renan de Ridder against Kevin Holland on there. Let me think, what other fights are on there? That's the only one I can remember that isn't on this page right here, and obviously Yuri versus Jamal Hill. Let me know your opinions in the comments below on UFC 311, and as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and I'll see you again in the next one.